Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, a growing workload is taking its toll on our local police officers, plunging the ranks into a mental health crisis. Worsened by COVID-19, it's hoped a doubling in support funding will help tackle the growing issue.
Knocking on doors, walking empty streets, patrolling borders and hotels. On the front line, the COVID workload took its toll.
Police just take on more and more and more, and they just stretch and they break.
The pandemic only exacerbating an ongoing mental health crisis within Tasmania's ranks.
There's been between 2.5% and 5% of the workforce doing COVID-19 functions, but we still have to deliver on criminal investigations, public order, emergency management.
We've been asking police to enforce border and broader lockdown matters as well. And so they haven't just been, over the last 12 months, policing the crooks.
But that stress is nothing new.
We do have 112 officers on open workers' compensation claims, 49 of those are for mental health, and we've got 37 police officers that are totally incapacitated.
Adding, in less than 5 years, 6 members have attempted to take their own life and 4 have. In response, the government today doubled funding for mental health support to $3 million a year, allowing for 2 extra psychologists, 4 wellbeing support officers and an education officer. And from July 1, police will be taken out of the Burnie courts.
Utilising security staff, private security staff, which will then transition to Tasmanian prison service staff.
It puts our members back on the street where they should always be, and also the increase of funding to wellbeing will go to the heart of making sure that our officers are safe and they go home to their families uninjured.
In a statement, the Police Commissioner welcomed the funding and said early recognition and intervention measures are his priority, while Labor wants more compensation for officers.
There are still members of the police service who have had their income reduced while they're off on sick pay. That needs to be reversed.
A suite of changes all aimed at protecting those who protect us. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
And if you need support, there are services available, including Lifeline on 13 11 14. Police are still searching for 2 vehicles stolen from Community Transport Services Tasmania in Mowbray on Tuesday night. 4 of the stolen cars, which are used to transport the elderly, have been found in Kings Meadows and Youngtown.
The vehicles are in a good condition. We have managed to get forensics from most of the vehicles that we've located and recovered. We're still waiting on that forensic analysis to come in. Hopefully they can lead us in the direction of the offenders.
Tasmania Police is urging the community to be on the lookout for a white Toyota Camry and a Hyundai i-van. Tasmania has declared more locations in Melbourne as high risk following cases linked to a quarantine hotel. Public health authorities have added the Commonwealth and HSBC banks at Glen Waverley, as well as the entire Sunbury Square shopping centre to the growing list. Victoria reported 3 locally acquired cases today, bringing the total to 11, with our Premier Peter Gutwin saying he's willing to take further action if needed.
In a heartbeat, I would lock up larger areas of Victoria from travelling to Tasmania if that's what public health said we needed to do to keep Tasmanians safe.
Anyone who visited those locations in the past week is ordered to self-isolate and contact public health. The Seaport Marina in Launceston could be transformed if a $4 million development is approved by Council and receives government funding. The area is currently being impacted by silt and mud in the Tamar.
So it really involves slicing off about 30 metres of the marina that's closest to the existing boardwalk. We lose about 25 berths in total, but it leaves a very big space behind where we will take the marina to.
It's hoped a large promenade can be built, which will be used for events and markets. More than 16,000 Tasmanians are waiting for public dental care, and welfare groups are warning the job seeker windback will only make matters worse. At the same time, private clinics are seeing a bump in bookings as a halt on holidays leaves people with cash to splash.
If you can't afford to see a dentist in Tasmania, you're not alone.
The public waiting list has expanded and there's probably about 16,000 people on that list at the moment, the last time we checked. The biggest issue really is funding.
In October 2019, 13,000 people were on the waiting list. The number has risen steadily almost every month. Dentists insist they're using government funding wisely.
But the problem is that there's just an extremely big demand out there.
I think it's mainly due to the pandemic which is happening all around the world. I'm aware that many elective surgeries waiting list has also gone up.
Welfare services are worried vulnerable Tasmanians who can pay for care won't be able to with the wind back of JobSeeker.
And it really can be a barrier to people finding employment, and this further stigmatises those Tasmanians that are already experiencing prejudice.
The state government says it's trying to fix the public backlog by partnering with the private sector.
Obviously, through COVID, there was an impact. These services were closed for a period of time, but we're doing everything that we can to get on top of it.
Ironically, the number of Tasmanians paying for dental work has increased.
We've had people who've accessed their super to have work done. I have had a lot of people who said, usually I'd be in Italy right now, can't go, can you fix my teeth?
With rising living costs and stagnant wage growth, the fear is more people will slip through the cracks. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
In addition to one of the state's most picturesque walks, he's aiding in the battle to bring tourists to the East Coast. In a boost for the region, the new Wineglass Bay Lookout was opened today, offering stunning views of the world-renowned location.
It's one of Tasmania's most spectacular views.
Anyone that's been to Freycinet cannot deny this is one of the most special locations in the state.
And access to it has been improved, with a new lookout at Wineglass Bay opened today.
It's dealt with the growing numbers of visitors that have been coming to this location by spreading them out across the hillside and giving them new and extraordinary views.
Nestled on the side of a cliff, the build was a challenging one, both physically and logistically.
We tried to plan everything to chop it up, but there was a few days there where we had to pack some stuff in.
Another step towards restarting the tourism industry here on the East Coast.
It's fundamental to the economy here, and it's a draw card for Tasmania. Everybody who comes to visit Freycinet travels through other towns and centres, spreading the joy around in terms of investing in our economy.
With so many jobs in the area dependent on tourism, it made for a bleak 2020. And headed into the summer period, there was still uncertainty for local businesses.
We did expect a certain amount of people, but yeah, definitely not the volume that we put through a few years before.
We were really concerned, being a very small town with a small permanent population. We rely on people visiting the area.
Support of Tasmanian and then interstate visitors vital through that period. National parks particularly have been a drawcard.
The really great thing from the last 12 months is that the Tasmanian public have been out and about enjoying their national parks. And Freycinet National Park has seen almost the same levels of visitation that it saw pre-COVID.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The Launceston City Council has today endorsed a $208 million master plan for UTAS Stadium. Released last week, it details a proposed redevelopment of the stadium, adding an indoor multi-use facility, as well as expanding the existing stadium's capacity. The proposal, with one eye on a future Tasmanian AFL team, is expected to be sent to the state government for consideration. Fine wine, historic buildings and a museum dedicated to dung. Richmond has it all. But it seems not everyone is a fan of Tasmania's Shrine to Stool. The building sign has caused a stink with council, with claims it's illegal.
Some days you step in it, other days can feel like pushing it uphill. The message for visitors at this Richmond museum is pretty straightforward.
They all say, wow, I had no idea how interesting actually poo can be. And that makes me really happy, of course.
But it's not the scat samples kicking up a stink. Instead, it's a sign out the front proudly boasting the name Pooseum.
So the first thing is they said it was way too big, it was too modern, whatever this means. It really doesn't fit into historic Richmond.
3 weeks ago, Karen received a letter from Clarence Council telling her to apply for a new sign, which met the planning scheme, or risk a $2,500 fine. Not hopeful of having it approved, she opted to just cover it up. The Clarence Mayor says the issue has nothing to do with number 2, but rather the sign's size and its placement.
We see this business as a valid business in Richmond. It's got some unique selling points which we appreciate, and that's all part of the rich tapestry that makes up Richmond.
It's at the moment the only one of its kind in the entire world, and the council will not stop me.
A saga which might not be flushed away so easily. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Community club cricketers have been given the opportunity to feel like a Hobart Hurricane playing at Blunston Arena. The gala day is such a success, it's gaining traction to become an annual calendar fixture.
Community cricketers playing on Blunston Arena for the first time at a gala day on Sunday.
It was just amazing to play out here. So many unbelievable players have played on that cricket pitch and played on this ground.
All abilities, Indigenous and intercultural teams taking part in the event.
We couldn't sleep for a week, just thinking about that hopefully it doesn't rain.
I didn't picture myself playing cricket on here. It was a great day.
What started as an answer to other events being cancelled looks to become an annual match itself.
It started as a bit of a replacement, obviously, for not being able to go to national carnivals this year. However, having done it once, I think we've seen that the value is still there, regardless of if and when those national tournaments come back.
Normally showcasing his cricketing talents at the National Indigenous Championships in Alice Springs, this year Jack Callanan wowed a home crowd.
It was a really good opportunity to play for the state and play for your culture. You know, you don't get the opportunity every day of the week, so when it does come along, you know, take it with 2 hands.
The day wasn't just about cricket, with a Nepalese band showing their musical talents. In all matches, the stakes were high, as was community spirit.
ICSL is one of the competitions who has brought all the communities together at one platform, and where you can actually make friends. It's not only about cricket; it's actually have made much bigger than cricket as well.
The cherry on top, the KLM Kings took home a win.
Oh, is that going to be a catch? Is that going to be the end? And that's a catch.
Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
The curtain is raising at the Playhouse Theatre after remaining drawn during the COVID-19 pandemic. After a disruptive last season, tickets are now on sale for the 2021 Hobart Repertory Theatre lineup. Kicking off on April 9 with beloved childhood classic Charlotte's Web, originally set for June last year.
We are trying to get some elements of light and magic into the show, so there will be something for everyone to enjoy, people who enjoyed the book when they were young, and they can introduce that to the young people in their own families.
We're all so excited. It's not only for patrons but also for the actors to be able to be on stage again.
This season also featuring psychological thriller Love from a Stranger and farcical comedy Blithe Spirit. A generous community member has donated his own wheelchair accessible van to help other Tasmanians move about easier. The vehicle offered to a Hobart City Mission housing program aiming to aid transport needs for locals of all abilities.
A simple hoist into this mobility vehicle, now ready for a day out. After purchasing an upgrade, Ron Marriott is giving his old van to the community.
He's quite proud to do that. He's really pleased. Obviously Ron's non-verbal, so otherwise he could tell his own story, but he's very happy to do it. He's quite proud of what he's done. I think it's a lovely gesture.
Ron has been using a wheelchair for around 40 years, but it was receiving his accessible van which gave him a new lease on life.
We can go where we want. He goes to National Park. We go down to the beach restaurant at Blackman's Bay. He has a coffee down there, so it's a completely different world for him. Otherwise, he's just stuck at home, can't do anything. So yeah, it's total freedom for him, really.
Now hoping to offer that same opportunity to others, donating his vehicle to City Mission's housing program at Mountain View, allowing people of all abilities direct access to transport.
A lot of the people living here who were previously homeless don't actually have a vehicle, so this is an opportunity for them to be able to get out in the community together and to build that sense of community at this site.
While helping those struggling to seek vital services.
You have the classic challenge of having appointments, buses being late, not being able to make the appointments. And if you're relying on government benefits to a degree, if you miss appointments, then often your benefits are stopped.
It's amazing to get the opportunity to be able to do something, and you know, I know that van will make a big difference.
Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
3 Tasmanians will represent their country in a FIBA Asia Cup qualifier next week. Taryn Armstrong, Rain Smith and Hunter Clark will face the New Zealand Tall Blacks in Cairns on February 20. Tasmanian pride will be on show when local boxers take on mainland opponents at Repeat or Revenge at the Hobart City Hall. Hobart's Jaden Plugger Joseph, a former Australian cruiserweight champion, will have his first fight since late 2019, while Launceston's Leighton McFerrin, who holds Victoria's super featherweight title belt, will finally return to the ring after 27 months out.
November last year, a lot of the memories come back and I just wanted to do it all again, really.
Fit, ready to go. Got to drop a couple of kegs, unfortunately, but it's part of the task. But this fight, I'm going to take this as my hardest fight yet.
Also on the card, the undefeated Beau Belbin having his first professional fight in the state, while Chris Drummond will swap his MMA and kickboxer gear to make his boxing debut.
I'm not going to make the mistake of thinking that boxing is the same as Muay Thai and MMA. So I know that it's its own art form and I've got a lot of respect for boxing, and that's why I've been dedicating 90% of my training to boxing over the past couple of years.
It's going to be such a massive show in the first place. It's just going to be great to hopefully win, loss or draw, put on a great performance.
As reported last night, the WIBA women's title between Christina Jacobs and Lorinda Webb will headline the night. It's on March 27. And Tasmanian Mayor Stella Starr is back in the All-Star Miles top 10 after the withdrawal of Chris Waller's Very Elegant from the nominations. Trained by Bill Ryan, she's more than 1,000 votes ahead of the next horse, Mugatoo. If the 4-year-old sneaks into the top 10, she'll guarantee a spot in the lucrative $5 million race. The leaderboard will enter a blackout from midnight tomorrow. Voting remains open until midnight on Sunday. To get behind the Longford Mayor's campaign, go to allstarmile.com.au and vote for Stella Starr. Huge for Longford and Tassie horse racing, Kim. As I said, voting in the All-Star Mile open until midnight on Sunday, and we'll have a special feature on the horse in Sunday night's show. So I know it's your day off, but make sure you tune in, Kim.
Good evening. Temperatures within a couple of degrees of average today. Hobart and Launceston 24, Burnie 20, Devonport 22. The warmest was Strawn, 25 degrees, more than 4 degrees above the February average. Ouse 24, Flinders Island, Friendly Beaches and Grove 23, King Island and St Helens 21, Lowhead 20, our overnight low 0 at Lyawini. High cloud evident today until some low cloud developed over the north. No rainfall out of that this afternoon. A cloud band extends from northwest WA to Tasmania ahead of a trough and cold front. Cloud spirals around a low south of the Bight. Convective cloud over Queensland and the tropical north. Tomorrow the cold front passes over, introducing a westerly airflow. Another cold front well south of the Bight. Lows and a trough continue over the North Island. Winds north-northwesterly at 20 to 30 knots, reaching 35 knots over the lower east and south. A shift to the west will occur late morning before the winds will drop a little. Gale warning from Wineglass Bay to Low Rocky Point. A strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters along with the southwest lakes. So the chance of a thunderstorm first up for Hobart tomorrow. 23 the top, 22 for Huonville. Early storms, showers easing, 25 for Campania. Launceston 24 and early showers, Devonport the same, but 23 the high and 21 for Georgetown. Burnie expecting a top of 22 with early showers. A storm possible for Strawn, 19, 21 the high for Wynyard. And in the east, maybe a storm further south at Port Arthur, but early showers elsewhere. St Helens 24, Swansea 26. UV drops a little to 9, but still very high tomorrow. On Saturday, a clearing shower over the west and far south, so a mainly fine day. A fine day too for Sunday, partly cloudy as temperatures reach the mid-20s. And on Monday, mainly fine and partly cloudy again. Possible showers over the east, central and north. Sunny and 28 degrees in Perth tomorrow. Fine in Adelaide, early showers forecast for Melbourne. A few showers in Canberra, later on in Sydney, 30 degrees there. 30 also for Brisbane, but fine. Cloudy conditions in Hobart, still warm though, 22 degrees at the moment. Launceston showery and 19 degrees. In Devonport it's raining and 18. Not much rain though, Kim. It's going to be clear for the weekend because I'm off to watch the Bad Dad Orchestra, so it's got to be fine.
I'm sure it will be. Thank you very much, Murph. And that is all your news for now. Thanks for joining us this evening. On behalf of the team, good night.